Respected viewers, dear family of dreamers, there comes a quiet moment in life when you sit alone, perhaps late at night, and wonder, who really controls your future? Is it your hard work, your decisions, or invisible forces moving far beyond your reach? Somewhere between time and destiny, between struggle and success, there is a silent game being played. A game of power, money, and patience. And today, that game has two giants at its center, China and the United States. But before we talk about nations, let us talk about you. Because the truth is, most people never lose to global economies. They lose to their own fear. I remember a young man, not very different from many of you listening right now, who once believed that money was something only lucky people understood. He worked hard, long hours, always tired, always, hoping that someday things would change. He used to say, if only I had more money, I would invest, I would grow. But days turned into months, months into years, and nothing changed, not because opportunities were missing, but because courage was. You see, the world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards direction, and while he was busy worrying about small bills, the world was shifting in ways he couldn't even see. Entire countries were playing a long game, building systems, creating influence, shaping the very flow of money itself, China and the United States. Two forces, two philosophies, two completely different ways of thinking about wealth. One believes in speed, innovation, risk-taking, immediate results. The other believes in patience, control, long-term strategy, silent expansion. And somewhere in between lies the truth that most people never understand. Let me tell you something very honestly. When I first began learning about money, I made mistakes, many of them. I chased quick profits. I followed trends. I listened to noise instead of wisdom. There were days when I lost money I could not afford to lose. Nights when sleep felt impossible, and mornings when doubt felt heavier than failure itself. But slowly, very slowly, I realized something powerful. Money is not just numbers. It is behavior and nations, just like individuals. Behave in certain ways. Look at the United States and a country built on risk. People there are encouraged to think big, to innovate, to build companies that can change the world overnight. The system rewards boldness. Investors pour money into ideas, even if they fail, because they know that one success can change everything. Now look at China, a completely different mindset. Patience, control, long-term vision. While others chase quick wins, China builds slowly, silently, strategically. It invests in infrastructure, in manufacturing, in supply chains. Things that don't look exciting today, but become powerful tomorrow. And this is where the real lesson begins. Because most people, they live like spectators, watching this global game, thinking it has nothing to do with them. But in reality, it affects everything. The job you have, the price of things you buy, the opportunities you see, even the risks you don't notice, all connected. I once met a man who spent 10 years saving money, carefully, patiently, denying himself small pleasures, believing that one day he would invest wisely and secure his future. But when that moment came, fear took over. What if I lose it, he said. And so, he waited. Another year passed, then another, and slowly, inflation, time, and missed opportunities began to eat away at everything he had built. You see, sometimes the biggest loss is not losing money. It is losing time. Now think about this. While individuals hesitate, nations do not. China doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates them. It builds ports in foreign countries, invests in roads, railways, and industries. quietly, becoming the backbone of global trade. And the United States, it dominates through influence, through technology, through the power of its currency, the dollar, which flows across borders like an invisible river, shaping economies, deciding winners and losers. So who really controls the global economy? Is it the country that builds everything? Or the country that finances everything? Is it the one that produces? Or the one that consumes? The answer is not simple, because control, true control, is never loud. It is subtle, patient, almost invisible, and this is exactly how wealth works in your own life as well. You don't build wealth by chasing attention. You build it by mastering silence, discipline, and consistency. There was a time when I invested in something simply because everyone else was doing it. The excitement was everywhere. People were making money quickly, and I thought, why, not me? But within months, it collapsed. And in that moment, I learned a lesson that no book could ever teach me. If you don't understand something, you don't control it. And if you don't control it, it will eventually control you. The same applies to nations. The United States understands finance deeply. It has built a system where the world depends on its currency, its markets, its institutions. China understands production deeply. It has built a system where the world depends on its goods, its factories, its supply chains. Both powerful, both necessary. But power is not just about what you have. It is about how patiently you use it. And here is where most people fail. They want results too quickly. They invest today and expect growth tomorrow. They start something and quit when it becomes difficult. They dream big, but act small. But if you observe carefully, neither China nor the United States became powerful overnight. Decades of planning, years of silent work, countless failures, unseen struggles, all hidden behind what looks like success. And that is the illusion that traps most people. They see the outcome, but not the journey. They see wealth, but not the discipline behind it. They see power, but not the patience that built it. So today, as you sit here listening, I want you to ask yourself something very honestly. Are you playing a short game or a long game? Because the truth is, whether it is a nation or a person, the one who thinks long-term always wins in the end, and yet, thinking long-term is one of the hardest things a human being can do, because the world around you is designed to distract you. Everywhere you look, there is noise, quick money schemes, overnight success stories, endless comparisons, people showing results without revealing the years of quiet struggle behind them, and slowly, without even realizing it, your mind begins to believe that speed is success. But deep inside, you already know it is not. Real wealth is slow. Real power is quiet. Real control is invisible. This is the same truth that governs the relationship between China and the United States. One moves with visible dominance, leading global finance, influencing markets, setting the tone for how money behaves across the world. The other moves with quiet strength, building systems, controlling production, shaping the physical backbone of the global economy. And while the world debates, compares, argues, both continue moving forward, patiently, strategically, relentlessly. There is a powerful lesson hidden here. You don't need to be the loudest to be the strongest. You don't need to show everything to control everything. And most importantly, you don't need immediate result, to be on the right path. I have seen people give up just before their lives were about to change, not because they were wrong, but because they were early. Think about that. They were not failing. They were just not patient enough. In investing, this is one of the most painful realities. You buy something of value. You study it, you understand it, you believe in it. But for months, sometimes years. Nothing happens. No growth, no excitement, no reward. And in those silent moments, doubt begins to grow. Did I make a mistake? Should I try something else? Maybe this isn't for me. But what most people don't realize is, this silence is part of the process. Growth is not always visible, just like a tree does not grow in a day. Its roots deepen first, unseen, unnoticed, and only later does it rise above the ground. China understood this principle deeply. While others focused on quick gains, it focused on foundations: manufacturing, infrastructure, logistics, trade routes, relationships with developing nations. It planted seeds everywhere. And now, years later, those seeds are turning into influence, into leverage, into power. The United States, on the other hand, mastered a different kind of patience. It built trust in its systems, in its markets, in its currency. It created an environment where the world feels safe storing wealth, investing capital, building financial futures. And that trust took decades to build. You see, there are many ways to become powerful, but only one way to stay powerful: consistency, not for a week, not for a year, but for decades. This is where emotional discipline becomes everything. Because your biggest enemy is not the market. It is your own reaction to it. When prices fall, fear rises. When others succeed, comparison grows. When results delay, patience weakens, and slowly, you begin to act against your own best interests. Selling too early, buying too late, quitting too soon. I once held an investment that did nothing for a long time. It felt like watching paint dry. No excitement, no movement, nothing to show for my patience. There were moments when I almost walked away, convinced that I had made a mistake. But something inside me said, wait. Not because I was certain, but because I had learned to respect time. And over the years, that one decision, to simply stay, changed everything. This is the quiet power that most people ignore. The ability to stay when nothing is happening. The ability to continue when no one is watching. The ability to believe when there is no evidence yet. This is not easy. It requires sacrifice. Saying no to short-term pleasures, ignoring distractions, letting go of the need for immediate validation, and sometimes walking alone, because long-term thinkers often feel isolated in a short-term world. But remember this: every great outcome was once invisible. Every strong system was once fragile. Every wealthy person was once uncertain, and every powerful nation was once underestimated. So when you look at China and the United States, don't just ask who controls the global economy. Ask yourself, what kind of mindset creates that level of control? Is it speed or patience? Is it noise or silence? Is it reaction or discipline? Because the answer to that question is the answer to your own financial future. And when that realization finally settles within you, something begins to change. Quietly, deeply, permanently. You stop chasing noise and start seeking truth. You stop reacting to every movement and begin observing with calm patience. You stop asking, how fast can I grow? And start asking, how strong can I become? Because in the end, control, true control, is not about speed. It is about stability, and stability is built from within. When you look again at China and the United States with a calmer mind, a wiser perspective, you begin to see something different. You see that both are powerful, not because they are perfect, but because they understand their strengths, and they stay consistent with them. One dominates through financial systems, the other through production systems. But neither abandons its path, just because the world becomes uncertain. And that is the final lesson. In your own life, you don't need to do everything. You just need to understand what you do best and stay committed to it long enough for it to grow. There will be moments when the world feels unstable, markets will rise and then fall. News will create fear, then hope, then fear again. And in those moments, you will be tested, not on your knowledge, but on your character. Will you panic, or will you remain calm? Will you follow the crowd, or will you trust your process? Will you chase quick gains, or will you protect long-term growth? Because at the end of the day, the global economy is not controlled by just one nation. It is shaped by systems, by decisions, by time, and the same is true for your life. You may not control everything, but you can control how you think, how you act, how you respond to uncertainty. And that is more powerful than you realize. There is a quiet kind of confidence that comes when you stop trying to predict everything and start preparing for anything, a calm understanding that you don't need to win every moment. You just need to stay in the game long enough to win in the end. So take a deep breath. Release the pressure of quick success. Let go of the fear of missing out and return to something simple, something timeless: patience, discipline, clarity. Because these are the same forces that build nations, and they are the same forces that will build your future. And one day, when you look back, you won't be proud of how fast you moved. You will be proud of how steadily, how wisely, how quietly you kept going, even when no one was watching, even when nothing seemed to change, even when doubt tried to convince you to stop. You stayed, and that is how real wealth is built. Then listen closely, and let this settle not just in your mind, but deep within your heart. Because everything we have spoken about, the rise of nations, the silent battles between China and the United States, the patience behind power, the discipline behind wealth, it all comes down to one simple truth: life rewards those who think beyond the moment. You see, the world will always be uncertain. There will always be another crisis, another prediction, another fear trying to shake your confidence. Nations will compete, economies will rise and fall, and headlines will constantly try to convince you that everything is either collapsing or exploding with opportunity. But wisdom, real wisdom, does not live in headlines. It lives in patience. It lives in clarity. It lives in the quiet decisions you make every single day when no one is watching. China did not rise in a day. The United States did not build influence overnight, and neither will your future be built through shortcuts. It will be built slowly, intentionally, through choices that may feel small today, but become powerful tomorrow. Saving when it is easier to spend, investing when others are afraid, waiting when the world is rushing, staying consistent when results are invisible. This is the path, not exciting, not glamorous, but real. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to control the global economy to create your own. You don't need billions to build something meaningful. You only need a clear vision, a disciplined mind, and the patience to let time do its work. Because time, when respected, becomes your greatest ally. It multiplies your efforts. It softens your mistakes. It rewards your consistency. And most importantly, it gives you something far more valuable than money: peace. A quiet confidence that no matter what happens in the world, you are prepared. A calm understanding that you are not chasing wealth anymore. You are building it, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. So walk forward, without fear. Stay grounded when others are distracted. Stay patient when others are rushing. Stay disciplined when others are emotional. and trust deeply that your journey, though slow, though quiet, though unseen, is leading you exactly where you are meant to be, toward a life of abundance, a mind of clarity, and a heart at peace.